Dwight Miller, Victor Milborn.
It's Dwight Miller, Victor Milborn.
Pickup Truck Investing Part 2.
Yeah, Pickup Truck Investing Part 2. You know, we've done drive-by investing, so now we're doing pickup truck investing. The reason we're here is we've been talking about, Victor runs a construction and real estate investment business, and we talk about how he can close customers for a particular part of his business, and I've been helping him do that. So that's why we're here. We had breakfast together, and this is just a good place to take this video. So here's the thing.
We do this all the time. We do business everywhere.
So here's the thing. Some tips about closing. One, and this is what we talked about in our meeting. One is make sure that you understand what the client wants. In other words, don't make an assumption that you know. Make the client tell you what he wants. And then, as importantly, repeat it back to him so that he knows that you heard it. Tip number 2, make sure that you paint out the steps in painstaking detail so the client doesn't gloss over what you do and assume that it's just easy to do. So make sure that and if you haven't done this, lay out what you do step by step for your own purposes.
You make it clear to the client.
But in order for it to be clear to the client, it's got to be clear to you. So make sure you lay it out so you know exactly what the steps are. And step number 3, and this is where a lot of people fail. Ask for the business. Ask the client to do business with you. Don't be ashamed. So, and make it that plain. I mean, for example, what I tend to do is I basically say, look, I really want to work with you. So what would it take, Mr. Client, for you and I to work together? What would it take for you and I to work together? Now, I know I need to earn your trust. I'm willing to do that, but what would it take for you and I to work together? So so those 3 tips. Tip number 1, make sure that you understand what the client wants. Tip number 2, make sure you're clear about what you can do in detail. And tip number 3, ask for the business. This is Dwight and Vic, Pickup Truck Investing.
Pickup Truck Investing Part 2.
Part 2.
I think we're going to do a role play. We'll do a role play so that you understand exactly. Just to give you an example of, so name a business.
All right.
Say financial planning.
Yeah. All right. Financial planning.
Because I know Dwight has a client that's a financial planner and helps with her business. So.
All right. Here you go. So
think of a role play.
All right. Here you go. So let me ask you a question, Vic. I know you're an entrepreneur, and I know your business is doing well.
So you're the financial planner. I'm the customer.
Yes.
Okay.
So I know you're doing well in your business. So let me ask you a question. What is it that you want your investments to do? What is it that you really want?
Well, I'm really worried about retirement. When I stop running my business, I want to be able to retire comfortably.
So you plan on retiring?
Yeah, I plan on retiring. I don't plan on.
And you want to make sure that you have enough money so that you can retire comfortably.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, those are my goals to be able to retire.
Is it just you, or do you have a family?
I have a family, and
you and your wife.
Yes.
You want to be able to take care of neither.
And I want my kids to be able to go to college.
Cool. Okay. So you want to be able to retire and make sure your kids go to college. How old are your kids?
Just say for a purpose of example, 9 and 11.
Say
6 and 16.
So the 16-year-old, how much money have you saved for them?
So far I got $25 towards their college.
Let's talk about the younger ones.
So maybe they'll go in the army or something.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 6-year-old.
Let's talk about the 6-year-old. So you want to be able to retire and you want to be able to take care of your kids.
Yes.
So that's important to you.
Yes, very important.
Well, let me kind of lay out some steps. Here's where I would lay out literally all the steps that it would take for you to do those things. Because really, Vic, there's 2 different things. There's a long-term investment strategy so that you can retire. Mm-hmm. And that requires trying to figure out what investments that would help you grow and preserve assets. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's got a whole set of 50 steps in that. And then you've got another set of steps that you have to do to figure out how you can pay for your kids' college. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's 2 separate strategies.
Right.
What we do is we help you with that.
Okay, so in this, so just breaking the role play for a second, and the steps that you lined out, what step are we on right now?
This is step number 2. In other words, here's where I would lay out in painstaking detail what each of those would do. And it really, since this is if this were a short meeting, in other words, I'd say, Vic, let me come back to you and show you all the steps it takes to craft those 2 different plans. You follow what I'm saying?
So this is part where you explain exactly what it is that you
In
do.
painstaking detail, so that the customer can get those two different goals. Notice what I did is I broke apart those two things, because in the customer's mind, in your mind, they were the same, right? I
Right.
want to retire and
Get my kids
get my
to
kids
college.
to college. But they require two different things, so I broke it apart. Really important.
So that I'm clear as the customer.
Exactly.
I'm clear on what you do, what your responsibilities are, and what my responsibilities are.
And you're clear that it's two different things that have two different hurdles and two different sets of expectations.
Oh, I see.
You see?
All right.
Right? Because they are. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say to you, Vic, look, assuming that I can come up with a plan that makes sense where you can retire and pay for your kids' college education, what's the likelihood that we'd be able to work together?
Oh, so that's step 3 where you're asking me for the business.
That's exactly right.
Oh, I see.
So what I'm doing is I'm saying I'll develop a plan, but if I develop the plan, Vic, what's the likelihood that we'll be able to work together?
If you can develop the plan, I understand what you do from step 2. I understand what you do in detail. I understand what you're responsible for, and it helps me to meet my goals
That's
that
exactly
we did
right.
in step 1.
That's exactly right.
So 1 was find out what my goals were.
That's right.
2 was explain what you do.
That's right.
And now 3, you're asking for the business.
Right. And so what I did was I created this trade. I said, okay, I understand what you do. Let me go craft a plan that meets what you need. You see what I'm saying?
I got it.
And based on that plan, would you be willing to work with me? You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that way I ain't wasting my time or yours. Most people, what they do is they don't ask for that part. In other words, they do the plan, but they don't set up the sale in advance. You follow what I'm saying? They don't ask for the business before they do the plan.
Right.
Pickup truck investing.
That's too much, Dwight. You can't give them so much.
Hey, man. But you know what? It's a fair trade. See what I'm
Fair
saying?
trade?
It's a fair trade. In other words, in order for people to trust that I know what I'm talking about, I have to demonstrate that I know what I'm talking about.
If that helps you, it's obvious how to make money with that. But if that helps you and you want to hear more about Dwight, then contact us. There should be a link below, and our phone numbers are everywhere.
Yeah, actually, you can book time. You can actually schedule a 30-minute call. Click the link below.
Thanks.